Now, let us begin our class with Brahmanad. Om. Om. Shanti. 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 Swastha.
The lesson is standing up for yourself. What does the title Standing Up for Yourself suggest us? Standing up for yourself suggests us that we have to fight the battle of life ourselves in this broad battlefield of the world. We should be self-dependent. We should not depend on others for our own help. Rather, we should be self-independent. Clear? Now let me introduce the writer. The writer of this lesson is Yevgeny Yevtushenko. He was born in 1933. He is a Russian poet, novelist, essayist, dramatist, screenwriter, actor, as well as director of films. Now here, one thing comes to my mind, and I want to share that with you. Have you ever come across a child who is deserted by his parents? I think you must have come across urchins deserted by their parents. Do you know the meaning of urchins? Urchins means poor children. If you have not come across children deserted by their parents, you can easily find them in orphanages. Or if you watch the movie Slumdog Millionaire, you will come across about a poor urchin or the urchins. Yevgeny Yevtushenko was also deserted by his parents when he was hardly a child. Now let us go through the text. In 1941, it means he was born in 1933, and in 41 means in 1941. That means when he was a child of only 8 years of age, he was living all alone. His parents were not living with him. He was living all alone. And where was he living all alone? He was living all alone in an empty flat in a quiet Moscow street. And why was he living all alone in an empty flat in a quiet Moscow street? Because he was deserted by his parents. As he was deserted by his parents, he had to live all alone in a flat. That is the reason why it is written an empty flat. He was living. That means the flat was not empty, but his parents were not residing with him. This is the reason why it is called empty flat. So, when the writer Yevgeny Yevtushenko was at the age of 8, he was living all alone in an empty flat in a quiet Moscow street. My parents were divorced and my father was somewhere in Kazakhstan with his new wife and their two children. Why was he living all alone? Why was he deserted? Because his parents were divorced. As his parents were divorced, they were not residing unitedly together. Both father and mother of the writer Evgeny Yevtushenko were living separately due to their divorce. His parents were divorced, and after divorce, where was his father living? His father was living somewhere in Kazakhstan, a place nearby to Kazakhstan, somewhere in Kazakhstan, and the exact place of Kazakhstan is not known to the writer Yevgeny Yevtushenko. So what does he say to us about his parents? The writer says to us about his parents that his parents were divorced, and after divorce, his father was living somewhere in Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is also in Russia. In Kazakhstan with his new wife, and after his divorce, he got married again and started living with his newly wedded wife and their two children. I seldom receive letters from him. Here I refers to the writer. And who is the writer? Here the writer is Yevgeny Yevtushenko. Or who is the speaker here? The speaker is the writer, Yevgeny Yevtushenko. And the writer seldom. Seldom, you know, the opposite of often. Often means frequently, and seldom means rarely. The writer seldom received letters from him. Here he refers to his father. So what have you understood? After the divorce of his parents, they were not living with him. He was deserted. His father went to somewhere in Kazakhstan and started living there. Then he got married again and lived with his wife and their two children. And how was the relation of the writer with his father after his parents' divorce? After his parents' divorce, he seldom received letters from his father. And where was his mother after divorce? After divorce, his mother was at the front. And what does front mean? Front means a place where two armies are fighting. Father went to somewhere in Kazakhstan. And where was his mother after divorce? After divorce, his mother was in a place where two armies are fighting. My mother was at the front. She had given up. Give up, gave up, given up. Give up is a phrasal verb, which means leave. And the past participle form of leave is left. She had given up. His mother, after her divorce, had given up or had left her work, her job. What was she? Earlier, she was a geologist. But after her divorce, what did she do? She resigned or she gave up her job as a geologist. And the question arises, why did she resign from her job? She resigned from her job in order to become a singer and was giving concerts for the troops. And what was she doing after becoming a singer? After becoming a singer, she was giving concerts for the soldiers, for the troops. See what have you understood? His parents were divorced, so they were not living together. His father was living somewhere, and his mother was living somewhere, and the child, Yevgeny who was at the age of 80, was a child of 8, was living all alone in a flat in a quiet Moscow state. And after the divorce of his parents, his father was somewhere in Kazakhstan, and then he started living with his newly wedded wife and their 2 children, and he seldom received letters from his father. And his mother was at the front, and what does front mean? A place where 2 armies are fighting. At the same time, she gave up her work as a geologist to become a singer and gave concerts for the soldiers or for the troops. So my education was led to the street. See how your parents are worried for your education. Parents want that their children should be given proper education. As nobody was there to look after him and to look after his education, so his education was led to the street. It means he left most of the time, or he passed, or he spent most of the time in the street. That means the street was his teacher. He learned so many things from the street, seeing how you are restricted by your parents. You cannot spend much of your time in the street. You cannot spend much of your time outside home. If you are late reaching home, definitely you will be asked questions from your parents. Why are you late? Why have you not reached in time? And so many questions will be asked to you. But nobody wants them to ask anything to the writer, Yevgeny Yevtushenko. And how long he would live all alone in that empty flat. So he used to pass or spend much of his time in the street. So his education was led to the street. It means the street was his teacher, and he learned so many things from the street. My education was led to the street. The street taught me to steer, smoke, speak elegantly through my teeth, and to keep my feet at the ready. A habit which I have to this day. See? As he left most of his time in the street became his teacher, and he learned so many things from the street teachers. And what did the street teach him? The street taught him how to spear. And you must have seen children spending most of their time at the squares or in the street in silly matters. They say, mother's promise, father's promise, God's promise. Isn't it? That was what the street taught him to the writer Yevgeny Yevtushenko. So he learned from the street teacher how to spear in silly matters. At the same time, he also learned from the street teacher how to smoke. See, if you smoke, you will be beaten severely. But nobody was there to say anything to him. He was free to do anything in life. And the street teacher taught some bad habits. And what bad habits did the street teacher teach him? The bad habits. The street teacher taught him how to spear in small matters. The street teacher also taught him how to smoke. The street teacher also taught him to speak elegantly. And what does elegantly mean? Elegantly means showing good sense of style. Sometimes there are children who are illiterate and spend most of their time in the street, they also speak through their teeth. They think it is a type of style. And this habit was also taught to the writer by the street teacher. So, since the street teacher taught him how to steer, how to smoke, and how to speak elegantly through his teeth. At the same time, the street teacher also taught him to keep his fist at the ready. F-I-S-T, fist means closed, but tightly closed hand. This is called fist. Nobody was there to protect him. Nobody was there to rescue him if he was in problem or in danger. So he should be ready to face all the challenges of his life. I think it was a good habit taught to him by the street. The street also taught him to keep his feet ready all the time, a habit which I had to this day. As he thought that it was a good habit, it was with him throughout his life. But when we grow up and come to our sense, we gradually give up our bad habits. And when he grew up, he left or he gave up the bad habits like how to steer, how to smoke, how to speak elegantly through his teeth. These bad habits he left when he grew up. But some good habits he did not give up, but were with him throughout his life. And what was that? To keep his feet ready all the time. To keep my feet at the ready, a habit which I have to this day. The street taught me not to be afraid of anything or anyone. The street also taught him that he should not be afraid of anyone. He should not be afraid of anything. And it is also a good habit that the street teacher taught him. So what have you understood? The street teacher, as he spent most of the time in the street teacher taught him so many things. The street teacher taught him some bad things, some good things. And what bad things did the street teacher teach the writer? How to steer, how to smoke, and how to speak elegantly through his teeth. These were the bad things that the street teacher taught him. And some good habits, some good things were also taught to him by the street teacher. And what were they? How to keep his peace and how to face the challenges of life boldly was also taught to him by the street teacher. At the same time, the street teacher also taught him that he should not be afraid of anything or anyone in life. I also say to my students that they should not be afraid of anyone or anything. If they want to be afraid of someone, they should be afraid of God. If you are afraid of God, you will never do any mistake in your life, or you will never take any wrong step in your life. So let us be God-fearing people. Yes, I said to you, if you are afraid of God, you will never do anything wrong in your life. But let us not be afraid of others. Let us not be afraid of other things, but let us be afraid of God. Why will we be afraid of God? If we are afraid of God, definitely we will never do anything wrong in our life, or we will never take any wrong step in our life. This is the reason why I say to my students that they should be afraid of God. You have seen Lord Jagannath. See, he has big eyes, but he does not have eyelid. He never takes rest. He watches each and every action of ours. So, he rewards us also accordingly as per our work. So, let us be God-fearing people. Let us be afraid of God, but let us not be afraid of others. This is another habit I have kept. As I have told you, your children, you don't know what is good to you and what is bad to you. But when you grow up, you will understand. Nobody will say, neither your father or mother nor teachers will say to you, these are the bad things, these are the good things. So you will easily understand what is good and what is bad for you. And when you grow up, you will gradually give up all the bad habits and keep all the good habits with you. And when he grew up, he gave up the habits of swearing, habits of spitting through his teeth, and habit of smoking. But he kept the two good things that the street teacher taught him. And what were they? How to keep his feet ready all the time. And secondly, not to be afraid of anyone or anything in life. I have also said to you to keep his feet ready means to face all the odds of his life, or to face all the challenges or all the ordeals of life boldly. Keep the feet ready means I don't say you to keep your hands tightly closed and fight with others. It means to face the challenges of life boldly. At the same time, the second good thing that the street teacher taught to him was not to be afraid of anyone or anything in life. I realized that what mattered in the struggle for life was to overcome my fear of those who were stronger. And when he grew up, he realized. And what did he realize when he grew up? When he grew up, he realized that what mattered in the struggle for life, we are all struggling for our existence, for our life, was to overcome my fear. See, we also had fears for others. And we should try to overcome our fear of those who were stronger or more powerful. We should also try ourselves to overcome our fear of those people who are stronger and powerful. Here, so what did he realize when he grew up? When he grew up, he realized that what better in the struggle for life, that he would overcome his fear of people who were stronger. The ruler of our street was a boy of about 16 who was nicknamed Red. Now, he gives the example of a boy who was ruling the street. He was not the ruler, but he was showing his power to the boys who were junior to him. The ruler of our street, she was living in a quiet Moscow street, and the boy who was more powerful than the others was nicknamed Red. The name of the boy was not Red, but he was nicknamed Red, and you know Red is the signal of danger. He was dangerous for others. Here, so the ruler of our street was a boy. The ruler of the street where Yevgeny Yevtushenko was residing was a boy of about 16 years of age, and he was nicknamed Red. Now he describes something about that boy, Red. Red was big-shouldered, big and broad-shouldered beyond his years. He was a boy of 16 years, but his body stature did not show that he was a boy of 16 years, but he looked that he was more than 16 years of age. He was 16 years, but he did not look like a boy of 16 years because of his big and broad shoulders. He had big and broad shoulders beyond his ears. And how did he walk? He walked masterfully. Here, masterfully means carelessly, without caring anybody, like a master. Masterfully, up and down our street. Up and down our street. Up and down is from one corner to the other corner of the street. And how was he walking in the street? The ruler of the street was red, and he was walking masterfully from one corner to the other corner of the street. Legs wide. You know, the hooligans, the bullies, how do they walk? Or the ruffians. Do you know whom do you call a ruffian? The bullies who are not good at behavior, who are not good with others, are called ruffians, and the other two synonyms are bullies and ruffians, bullies, clear, or goons, G-O-O-N-S, goons. He was a goon. What's a goon? Red was a goon. Red was big and broad shouldered beyond his years. That means he was a boy of 16 years, but he did not look like a boy of 16 years because of his big, broad shoulders. And how did he walk? He walked masterfully, carelessly, and without caring anybody. Do the goons care anybody? Do the hooligans care anybody? We care others, but the goons, the hooligans, the goons do not care anybody. So they walk masterfully up and down in the street. Legs while walking, they walk with their legs wide open and with a slightly rolling gait. Gait means a manner of walking, and rolling gait means moving side to side. And you must have seen how the ruffians, the bullies, the goons work in the streets or on the road. With a slightly rolling gait, like a seaman on his deck. See, his walking in the street has been compared here with a seaman on his deck. Deck, you know, the upper surface of a ship, SHIP, is known as deck, or the floor of the ship is also known as a deck. The seaman walks on the deck of his ship masterfully, because he is the sole portion of the ship, and he can walk masterfully on the deck of his ship. Like a seaman walks on his deck. Red, the ruler of the street, when our Yevgeny Yevtushenko was leaving, was walking masterfully with his legs wide open and a slightly rolling gait. From under his head, its peak always at the back of his head, and his forelock tumbled down in a high casket, and out of his round pock-marked face, green eyes like a gate's sparkled with scorn for everything and everyone. Then what more we are saying about Red? He used to wear a cape whose peak means P-E-A-K, peak means the front part of the cape is called peak. from under his gate its peak, that means the peak of or the front part of the gate was always at the back side of his head, and you know how the goons, how the bullies, how the hooligans and ruffians wear their caps. Usually the hooligans wear their caps with whose peaks are always behind their heads. Similarly, from under his cap, the peak, the front part of the cap, always at the back of his head and forelock. See, lock means hair and fore means the lock just above our forehead. It is called forelock. It is known as forelock. His forelock tumbled means it is the past tense of tumble. Past participle form of tumble is also tumbled. You might have, if you have come from, or if you have studied your schools in English medium, you must have read the English rhyme. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Here, forelock means what? Forelock means the hair just above our forehead is called forelock. Tumbled means fell on his forehead, fell down in a fiery cascade. Here, cascade means waterfall. You must have seen the waterfall, how the water fall from a high portion of the hill at the bottom furiously. That is called fiery cascade. Fiery, like fire, fiery cascade. Similarly, the forelock of rat tumbled down like a fiery cascade. His forelock tumbled down in a fiery cascade, and he had round face with pock marks. Smallpox, chicken pox. Of course, chicken pox do not leave scars, but smallpox leaves scars. Probably he suffered from smallpox. After recovery, his face had left the pox marks, and out of his round pock marked face marks with the smallpox is known as pock marked face, and the shape of his face was round. He had a round face, and out of his round pock marked face, green eyes. His eyes were green. He had green eyes. And you must have seen the eyes of a cat. How are the eyes of a cat? The eyes of the cat are also green. Green eyes, like the eyes of a cat, like a cat's eyes. Sparkle means shone, shine, shone with scorn. Scorn means what? Contempt or hatred for everything. And his green eyes displayed that he did not have any love and affection for others. Rather, he had hatred or contempt for others and for everything. His green eyes sparkled with a scorn for everything and for everyone. And he was always followed by 2 or 3 boys of his age. 2 or 3 lieutenants. Lieutenant is a portfolio or position in the army. But here, lieutenants means followers. One who follows, the other is known as a follower. 2 or 3 lieutenants were always with him, and they followed him all the time. That is the reason why They are called here lieutenants. But they were not the army officials. They were the followers of the guru. Right? 2 or 3 lieutenants in a big case bag. See how was Red wearing his cap? The peak of his cap was always at the backside of his head. And the followers of Red also wore their caps like red. They also wore their caps whose peaks were always at the backside of their heads. And why did they do so? They did so only to preach. To whom? Their leader. And who was their leader? Red was their leader. So in order to preach red, they also wore their caps whose peaks were all the time at the backside of their heads. Back in front, to front like reds, and preach. Preach means what? Lightly at his heels. They always followed, walked behind red. Red could stop any boy in the street, as he was not at all good. He was the ruler. He was showing his power to the boys of other boys in the street. So he could stop any boy in the street and say impressively one word: money, money. 2 or 3 lieutenants in a pink dress, back to front like reds, walked lightly. Preachers walked lightly at his heels. They always followed the lieutenants, the followers always followed their leader, Red. And Red could stop any boy in the street and say impressively, but it is not used in a positive sense, but it is used in the negative sense. Impressively, the one word, money. After stopping the boy in the street, Red could say impressively only one word to that boy: money, money. His lieutenants would turn out the boy's pockets, and if he resisted, they beat him hard. And his lieutenants, his followers, would turn out the boy's pockets, and if the boy resisted means opposed, they would attack him, they would beat him up hard. See, this was the treatment Red and his followers was doing with the boys of the street. So everybody was afraid of Red. That was the reason why he was called the ruler of the street. His lieutenants would turn out the boys' pockets, and if he resisted his opposed, they beat him up hard. Everyone was afraid of Red. As every boy in the street was afraid of Red, so he was called the ruler of the street. He was the ruling over the boys of the street. That was the reason why he was called the ruler of the street. And how was he ruling? By stopping any boy at any time and ask forcibly to give him money. If he denied to give money to Red, then his lieutenants would turn out his pockets and beat him up hard. This way they were ruling the street. And who was the leader of that game? It was the Red. Who was the leader of the game? So Red was called the ruler of the street. His lieutenants would turn out the boy's pockets, and if he resisted, they beat him up hard. That was the reason why every boy in the street was afraid. When everyone in the street was afraid, he was not exceptional. So was I. Here I refers to Yevgeny Yevtushenko. So was why means he was also, as he found everybody in the street was afraid of rain, he also started fearing rain. As he was not exceptional, so was I. I knew he carried a heavy metal knuckle duster in his pocket. It was also known to the writer Evgeny Yevtushenko that Ray always carried a knuckle duster. This is known as knuckle. And knuckle duster means metal covering for the knuckles. That is known as knuckle duster. And who carry? Do you carry knuckle duster in your pocket? No, I do not carry a knuckle duster in my pocket. And who usually carries the knuckle duster? A goon or the goons, the hooligans, the ruffians, the bullies carry. What do they carry? They carry knuckle duster. Knuckle dusters in their pockets. And it was also known to the writer Evgeny Yevtushenko that Ray always carried a heavy metal knuckle duster in his pocket. We have gone through the first unit and second unit of the lesson, standing up for yourself. I will give you my phone number, and whatever doubts come to you, you can ask me directly. In our next class, we will go through the next unit of the lesson, standing up for yourself.